Miriam, you next, please. How do you stop the power hoarding? What's the top priority for you to get those reforms implemented?
I think since the Kennedy and Conley reports came out, the GS's role has been made more accountable and better defined. But I would go even further and say that the GS's performance should be reviewed very regularly by the EC. My understanding of the role of GS is that the GS is a servant to the EC and its members. I will make the role even more accountable by devoting time and effort to strengthening our democratic structures to ensure that power is spread and so members can hold the administration to account. An example of this could be that I will invite the SOGs to EC meetings, giving them an opportunity to give updates and flag any contentious matters from the outset so that our decision makers know what the issues are, what the problems are. And in this way, we could build inclusivity into the heart of the TSSA. Oh, and you also asked what my priority would be. Priority is inclusivity and making sure that the GS's performance is regularly reviewed.
Thank you very much. And now finally over to you, Bonnie.
Thanks. Yeah, like I said, I was one of the victims of the bullying and harassment in the union. A lot of the problems and a lot of the cliques grew up around the drinking culture that existed. And as General Secretary, I would want to see the same limitation put on the General Secretary as is put on all of the organisers. Organisers are not allowed to buy alcohol on their union credit cards. I think that's absolutely right. If people want to have a drink and celebrate or instigate something, then that should not be on the members' money, especially when we've been being told for years that the finances are difficult. The main way of ending power hoarding, as far as I'm concerned, is we have to improve our democracy and we have to have absolute transparency, which we've not had. All of the staff and the senior management and the EC were forced to work in silos. I, as an organiser, didn't know what the person sat next to me was responsible for, what they were doing. There was no combination of work. And we had a situation, everyone in here will know it, where we had a general secretary and his best mate as the assistant general secretary and his wife as one of the senior management team. That's problematic. We need to break that down with open transparency for our members to have a say. And as General Secretary, I would be working on behalf of the members via the EC. In that role, I'm used to having highly accountable posts. In a previous job when I worked in finance, I was regulated by the IFS. I would want the EC to approach me as a critical friend and challenge me on things. I'm perfectly open. I'm happy to give reports. In fact, I would give reports regularly to the EC. I would want the EC to invite a staff member to come to EC meetings and vice versa. I want EC members to come to staff meetings. So there is no more secrecy. There's no more fear about stepping on someone else's toes or acting outside of a very controlled remit. I would also hold regular drop-ins online for all members. If they wanted to have a conversation with me about anything, they would do it. I think initially I'll probably do that quarterly, but if it was popular and members wanted more often, I will do that.
Thank you very much. So let's open it out to a bit of a discussion now, and I'll let whoever wants to go first. But a ban on booze at union meetings. What do the candidates make of that? Who wants to go first? Duncan.
Is it unmuted? Yeah, it's unmuted. We're actually looking at bringing in an alcohol policy for all members of staff, for the EC, and for people on union duties for the TSSA. You're not a union member just to go to the pub, sit down, and get leathered. You're not. You can't put a ban on alcohol because people still have social circles and people still sit down. After a long day, they want to go out, sit down and have a chat. The drinking culture was done in the Kennedy report because people were buying alcohol on the credit card and in some cases falling asleep in the pub. They'd spent that much money on the credit card. You cannot ban people having social drinks after a meeting, or sometimes they have them after meetings, never in a meeting, never while you're working. I think the culture that came through was they would have meetings in the pub, which can't happen. Going forward, it shouldn't happen. That's my opinion.
Other candidates, after meeting, socialising, how do you get around the problems of a boozing culture?
Can I have a go?
Oh, sorry.
Go on, go, Mariam, can go.
Mariam.
I think that was a Kennedy recommendation to ban alcohol. I don't want to destroy the social element, but I think senior officials don't need to drink alcohol when doing the business of the union. I think alcohol after work is fine in moderation and only in moderation. But I think given the circumstances that took place, I don't think any of the senior officials should be drinking alcohol.
Thank you. And Bonnie.
Thank you. Look, a lot of the business of the union, and when people were selecting who was going to get anointed in various positions or get promotions, that was often done in the pub. That is not professional and it's exclusionary. For example, parents with young children want to get home after work, not go up the pub. People have health issues that mean they can't go into a pub. People don't drink. People have religious reasons not to go in a pub. So I think meetings should never actually happen in pubs. But if people want to have a drink and kick off and relax, that's fine, but it shouldn't be on members' money. It should be out of your own pocket, like it would be in any other job. My first job, as I said, was working for London Underground. I worked in the engineering directorate. It wasn't a safety critical role, but all of us could be subjected to random drug and alcohol testing, which meant that every one of us knew that we would not have a big session on a school night because it might get picked up in a random drug and alcohol test. We would lose our job. A lot of our members work under those rules. I think it's highly unprofessional to mix alcohol with business. Nothing wrong with kicking back after the business is finished on a social event, social occasion, but no business should be done in those circumstances. So I would say never on the union's bank account, never on the members' money, never in business, never in a professional capacity, but on a social. And as long as it doesn't affect you the next day, like drinking the night before you go to work and facing a random alcohol test, that should not be the case. We should never have senior management coming to meetings so hungover they can't run the meetings, which often happens.
I'm going to thank you very much all for that discussion. I'm sure we'll be touching on much of the rest of the Kennedy report in our other questions as well. Now we're moving on to democratic structures. I've been itching to ask a question of my own on this, but I'm going to do what I should do, which is ask the members questions. So again, similar-ish vibe, but this time we're going to allow, if you do feel you have an urgent point to make or to interject when another candidate's speaking, I will allow it for this round. So do add your thoughts that way. Of course, emphasis as before on respectful discussion. So first question, and we've got 10 minutes for this section. I'm just going to quote this member here because it's interesting. When I first joined TSSA many years ago, there were 5 branches based near me. Now there's just 1. Attendances are almost 100% retired members. Is there a future for local branches? And if so, how do they reconnect with working members? So who wants to take that first? Let's kick off with whoever is feeling most energetic. Duncan, yeah, we'll start with you.
Yeah, my branch, we do get attendance every month. It is more of the retired members and the older section. It is a problem. We need the young people to come in. I mean, we've got 83 people on the conference this evening from 17,000 members. There's obviously some apathy there that we need to find what the problem is and get it fixed. Get more people involved, get more people involved in the union. As I said before, if branches were more social without the drinking, where they had speakers there, you know, we could interact with each other, people from the same companies. A lot of branches have moving forward. Sorry?
Your line cut out slightly there, but
sorry.
That's okay.
We need to review the branch structure and the SOG structure and bring everybody together. Like I said, there's 83 people on this. This is the general secretary election of 17,000 members. We've got a problem, and it's a problem we need to fix.
Mariam, what do you think specifically needs to be done or can be done to ensure that, you know, local branches aren't just dominated by the same people every time and only by retired members? Where does that new blood come from?
So there's an Oscar Wilde quote that says, the problem with socialism is it takes up too many evenings. This could equally apply to trade unionism. I think we need to speak to branches and find out what they think they could do to appeal to working members. Little initiatives such as changing the meeting time could help. Perhaps inviting interesting speakers might gauge some interest, or combining it with a networking social event. These could all have impact in appealing to working members. I would ask future TSSA from the outset what they recommend branches should do to gauge the interest of working members. And if that doesn't work, we have to explore setting up workplace branches. I know we already have some, but setting up new workplace branches. We have to look at our democratic structures more widely, share good practice, perhaps offer online training for working members. Just off the top of my head, fostering some buddying program whereby retired members are buddied up with working members to share expertise and skills. This could be a way to improve the mix in branches. Excuse me.
I'm just going to let final sentence from you, Mariam, and then I'm going to bring in Bonnie. Yeah.
We definitely need to just include and bring branches into the policy making process of the union to make
Bonnie, what do you make of some of the proposals that you've heard from those two candidates?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's loads of things to explore, but at the end of the day, I'm all about democracy, and this has to come down to what the members want. Part of the problem that branches have with getting people to meetings is, first of all, access to the membership database, and the SOGs have a similar issue. So SOGs and branches need to have up-to-date contact details for everyone who is in their branch. Next step, branches need to have a regular slot for their meetings. Maybe 1 month they have it in an evening, 1 month they have it on a morning, or occasionally on a weekend, because that will accommodate our shift workers. We're a 24-hour industry, so we need to think about that. Branch meetings should be advertised clearly on the website, and there should be advertisements for branch meetings in News on the Go or regular communications from inside the TSSA. There is a problem that a lot of branches are dominated by retired members, but that's because they're not at work and presumably they got time, but they've also got a lot of experience. In 2015, we thought we would never see young people get involved in politics under the Jeremy Corbyn campaign, and they got involved because there were lots of local actions that excited young people. For instance, I think we need an economically and environmentally sustainable railway that's affordable for all. If we supported our branches to run campaigns on the environment, campaigns on economic problems and so on, that might be a way to bring more youth members in. But I would also, as Mariam said, want future TSSA to help direct that so that we can encourage younger members to come along. Now, the branch structures have changed a lot. The website doesn't necessarily include who the branch contacts are, which we need to fix. But with hybrid meetings and work organisations such as BTP being able to instigate their own branch, that's really positive. We need to look more at hybrid meetings so that more can go along, and actually start listening to our members, making branch meetings more than just a talking shop.
Thank you very much. We've got a question on a similar vein, actually, from another member. TSSA is deemed to be an organising union, but there's lots of weaknesses in the organising structures and effectiveness. How do you make organising effective on an ongoing basis? So we're looking here at the sort of big changes to the union, whether that's cultural or staffing or otherwise, that can actually lead to the union recruiting new members, particularly those I guess who are from underrepresented parts of the sector, or employers where there isn't a union presence yet. So let's kick off with Mariam this time on that one. How does TSSA actually become an organising union? This member wants to know.
There's definitely room for improvement, but the union has made huge steps towards becoming an organising union since the days where full-time officials were brought in to solve everything. I think now, having spoken to some reps, they have greater say in membership and deal in far more issues than before. But we must not forget TSSA is only a small union with a relatively limited resource. I could pretend we have funding to solve every single problem, but we need to ensure that we have well-trained and engaged reps with the right support and tools for the job. I think rep training and effective support is crucial in delivering for organising success. I will undertake to comprehensively review our activist training and development programme, directly involving reps in the process so we get it right in the future. But I will also review our comms so that the comms team are fully resourced to make our organising reps the best they can get.
Duncan, any of those that that you think will or won't work, and your own thoughts on that? Is TSSA doing enough to organise and recruit new members? And I'm just going to check before you answer that one with Will, because I saw a notification that we're running out of time, but just that the meeting isn't going to shut us out in a few minutes.
No,
it's got the 15 minutes.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No, I agree. Training is a major part. Are we organising people at the minute? We're not. I'm sorry, but this is why I'm standing. The communications, they're terrible. The website is terrible. The internal communications, the systems don't talk to each other. The full-time organisers can't go online and get the information they need. Members can't go online and get help that they need. The help centre, the help desk, that needs to be reviewed. If we're an organising union, we should be organising our members, and we're not. And it does come down to training. And as Mariam said, as Bonnie has said, more people in, more qualified people, helping the reps, organising the reps. I'm lucky. I work for a company that has a company council, and we work together. Some of the companies have recognition in control, or revenue, or driver managers, or booking offices, but not the full lot. We need to strive. We need to show that we can organise and we can represent our members. The other way we're going to do that moving forward is ensuring that training is given top to bottom for everybody.
And Bonnie, we've heard a few potential shortfalls here. Website not working, call line not working. Any of that stand out to you? What would you do?
Yeah, 100%. Look, can I just go back to basics? There are two models of running a trade union. One is servicing, one is organising. The idea of servicing is the staff take up personal casework and do that for our members. The organising one is one where organisers like myself and my colleagues actually get our members and our reps so involved and getting their workplaces jumping that we organisers make ourselves redundant. That's the ultimate aim of an organising union. We're not there yet, but also neither are almost any union as well, if you look at the true model. The bottom line is organising takes a hell of a lot more time than servicing. To organise a workplace, you have to know your workplace, you have to know your members, you have to know what the problems are, and you have to empower your reps and activists to pick them up with confidence and with skill. That requires training, and organisers will invest an awful lot of time in getting people to that place. But the bottom line is we need our members to be active. There was reference earlier on to our retired members. They've got loads of skill. They know the workplaces. They've got all of this information. It needs to be shared. I would like to see our activists buddied up with the retired members, and maybe that is something as well that we need to get happening in our branches.
There's some consensus on this buddy system, but yeah, last sentence or so.
But yeah, look, the bottom line is organising takes time. We're moving towards it, but we've still got caseworkers too. Like, we need to address that because it's about empowering our members, and that's why I do my job.
Thank you so much, all. So on to a quick fire round now. We're going to have 1 minute per question per candidate, and it's on staffing. So again, a nice little segue there. And I'll start with the first question. So, bearing in mind the recent and necessary loss of several senior staff, the previous inadequate functioning of the TSSA, how would you address a lack of experience and skills in the senior management team? So is SMT fit for purpose, and how do you reverse that? Mariam, are you happy to go first on this one? We'll kick off with you. Yeah.
I can do.
1 minute.
I've met many TSSA staff now, and I'm genuinely impressed with their many talents and dedication to TSSA members. But TSSA has been in crisis, and the Helena Kennedy report identified the huge potential of existing staff in stepping into various roles. So I will ensure that staff training and development opportunities are available to all and not just the very few. I will harness the full potential of our existing staff, and if there is a skill shortage, we will recruit openly and fairly in every case.
Okay, Bonnie, we're going to come to you on this. How do you make senior management team fit for the future?
Yeah, obviously the previous senior management team were not fit for purpose. We've currently got one senior management team member who's permanent full-time. We've got 2 interim ones. I'm getting on really well with my particular line manager. It's brilliant. And it has been a problem getting the talent up there. But the reason that there is a bit of a lack of talent, more widely speaking, is that due to the problems identified in the Kennedy and Conley reports, we've lost 26 organisers in the last 7 years. Now, we're a small body of staff. Most of those organisers were ones that came and went from the London office. And most of that is because one of the person who is now suspended, it lays directly on her feet. We need to nurture the staff we've got. As Mariam mentioned, Helena said that we've got a really good, talented and committed body of staff who are well placed to move the union forward in leadership positions. She's absolutely right. We had conversations with her. She's identified what's going on. But the problem is, not only have we lost a lot of staff, which we shouldn't have done, that means we've lost a lot of talent and skills. We need to invest in our staff. Staff need to have some way to make career progression. And
so sorry, Will is he's a hardcore time monitor, but I won't argue with it. Brill, Duncan, you're next, please, on this one. SMT kicking it into shape.
Yeah, I'll refer you to the Kennedy report. Said there are many able members of staff to go into the SMT or general secretary with experience. We've got a number of members of staff that have got a lot of experience and can go into the senior management team. As Mariam said, they might need training. You know, what's the cost of training when you're going to get a great member of staff? We've already transitioned some members of staff across, which is great because they've got the experience of what happened before. They will know that that's not going to happen again, and if it does, they can get help straight away. We have got this. We have got the staff to move forward. We do need to recruit some more staff, admittedly, because the areas need to be reorganised and that. We've got an interim one at the minute, but yeah, I think we have staff on the members of staff that can go up to the SMT. I don't see why not. We've got some quite professional people, and I've worked with a number of them, and I've got a lot of time and respect for them. So I don't see it as they're not qualified. Some of them didn't apply because of the previous management team. We need to, encourage them.
Thank you very much. We're running slightly over time, so I'm going to do a super quick fire question on this one, which is pretty much going to be a yes or no. There's a question on the General Secretary's salary. It's exceptionally high for a union of our size and membership. One member asked, it's £103,000 a year, as I understand it. Would you reduce it? Yes or no? First to Duncan, cutting the GenSec pay? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Bonnie. Oh, and you're on mute.
Well,
Bonnie, you're on mute just there.
Sorry, yeah, I've said in my manifesto I will reduce my own salary if I get taken up in the role to the agreed, collectively bargained pay scale that we have for the rest of the staff. Use the excess as seed funding for a strike hardship fund.
Okay, and Mariam, finally onto you.
Look, this is a matter for the EC. A GenSec does not set their own salary, and I think wage suppression is wrong for a union. How credible are we going to look if we're suppressing our own pay?
So that's a no there. Thank you very much. All right, quickly on to future of the union, which I think obviously is something that all of these questions come into. But let's look forward as well. First question, and we're going to have I think 1 minute per candidate per question on these. And the first question is, what will the TSSA's relationship with the RMT, ASLEF and other trade unions look like under your administration? So 1 minute each. The this time we're going to start with Duncan, if that's okay. Sorry, I feel like I've started with you a little bit, but it'll be someone else next time.
Not a problem. Not a problem to say. There's no reason why the relationship can't be built. Certain things have happened in the past, where people have fallen out. I was in ASLEF for quite a number of years, 14, 15 years. I know a couple of members of the RMT that are on the executive committee. I know executive committee members in ASLEF. I know some reps from Unite. They're all the railway unions, but we have to work with other unions as well, not just the railway unions. We've got the unions for the buses, the trams, the ports, the ferries, the travel agents. We need to work together with all unions, especially with all the changes that are coming on the railway. We have to stand together. We haven't stood together at the minute, and that's why we've got different campaigns left, right and centre regarding the booking office. If we'd have worked together, we should have had a massive campaign and worked together, and it'd probably been a lot more fruitful.
Okay. Bonnie, over to you. Relationship with other trade unions in the transport sector. What did it look like under you?
In collective bargaining negotiations, I always work, all the unions are in there together making a pitch for the correct pay terms and conditions for our members. There's 90% the same demands from the unions, maybe 10% slightly differently, but we're adults, we can work with that, we can figure something out. I absolutely believe that we should be working with our sister unions. I already do for local campaigns and what have you. I invite local unions, transport unions. The last ticket office campaign session I did down the road was advertised through the Trades Council. We had members from Unite, members from the CWU, members from all unions are supporting us together. We're living in a time of unprecedented attacks on workers' rights and anti-trade union laws. We must remember that solidarity is always our watchword.
Thank you very much. And Mariam, onto you. What's the link with other unions look like under your leadership?
Well, as positive as possible. We achieve more if we work together, especially now under this current government. I have good relations with ASLEF. Mick Whelan, the General Secretary, is one of my referees. He knows me both from the Labour Party movement and the trade union movement. I want good relations with the RMT, but very often we want the same things, but we can't deny it. There are tensions there. I want to try and reset that relationship. I want good relations with other trade unions, but I'm absolutely committed to keeping TSSA independent. That's
a question I'm going to quickly ask all of you now, actually. And mergers have been on the table repeatedly with other unions over the past few years or so. Are mergers on or off the table under your leaderships if elected? Bonnie, mergers off the cards, on the cards?
We've had lots of failed merger talks over the last 10 years or so, some with sister unions, some with foreign unions. The bottom line is, as staff, we could recognise that we weren't being told the full truth about the need to merge and the reasons why a merger happened or why it didn't happen. I'm personally thrilled to bits the IBB merger didn't happen. That looked like a bad deal for us. Couldn't see what was in it for the IBB, so therefore I couldn't see how we were being told the absolute truth on that. And the GMB merger, well, I'm also glad that one didn't come through. My intention is to grow and strengthen our union so we're industrially powerful, using every lever, and stay as an independent trade union. That is absolutely what I'm aiming for. We've got 126 years of history. Let's make another 126 years as an independent trade union.
And Duncan, ruling in or ruling out mergers with other unions?
Definitely rule out a merger. As Bonnie said, 126 years. We've lost a lot of members in the booking offices to a rival union. When things all come out at the end of the day, them members might want to come back. They might want to come back to the TSSA. A lot of members in the railway might come back to the TSSA. There's other opportunities on the buses, on the ferries, on the Metrolink, on the trams, on the railway, where we can gain more members. Network Rail alone, we could easily recruit another 1,000 members if we tried hard at it. So I'd say a merger is definitely not on the cards.
And then final question from the membership here. TSSA.
Sorry, I didn't answer that question.
Sorry, Mariam. Yeah, no, I was actually riffing on what you last said about it, but we'll give you a chance to answer too. Mergers in or out?
Off the cards, I was in a small union that was taken over by Unite, and we lost our specialism and identity. Growing the TSSA is the solution, not merger.
Okay, thank you very much. Second one, right. TSSA is obviously affiliated to the Labour Party. I want to find out what does that relationship with the Labour Party, which could be in government next year, what does that look like under the different candidates? And just specifically from this member, they've asked, how will you cultivate the relationship with the Labour leader and our parliamentary group of MPs to ensure the Labour Party delivers for our members? So we are going to kick off this time with Bonnie, if that's okay. TSSA's links to the Labour Party, what does it look like under you?
Okay, obviously we're affiliated to the Labour Party. I'm a Labour Party member. I hold office in my CLP. I'm taking a sabbatical as CLP secretary, but I'm also a bit concerned about their failure to step up to protect us with the anti-trade union laws. So I'm a member, but not one without any questions for them. I think we need to really hold the Labour Party to account. At conference in June, members wanted to have a referendum on whether we maintain our affiliation with the Labour Party. That's a membership question. They should be given the chance to have their voices heard. But as I also have had a long experience of high level Labour Party business, I think that we need to be doing more to push Keir Starmer. After all, our members nominated him to be leader of the Labour Party, and we need to do an assessment of whether or not he's done the job right by our members. So it's down to the members. I remain a member of the party, but not without questions.
And Mariam, this time, what does the Labour link look like if you're elected, Gensec?
I think we have to make sure that the affiliation delivers for TSSA members. So some of our industrial aims can be achieved through political means. I have high-level experience of working in the Labour movement. He's not my leader, but I've worked with Keir Starmer. This team, I know how the NEP processes work, and I know how to tap into the processes to achieve for TSSA members. Under my leadership, I will place in demands on TSSA sponsored MPs. So no more blank checks for nothing. For our sponsorship, they'll have to deliver a certain number of urgent questions per month, a certain level of interventions per month. I'll also think about how, look, basically our affiliation isn't working right now. We need to demand much, much more from the Labour Party.
Demanding more. Duncan, fan of Keir Starmer or not? What does the Labour link look like under your leadership?
As I said previously, I'm pragmatic. Move forward with what's good for the union. If the membership keep the affiliation, that's fine. If the membership don't want the affiliation, that's also fine. However, if we don't try and forge a relationship, something that to the betterment of our members, then we'll never know. If the General Secretary comes in and sits down with the Labour Party, I remember previously we were promised nationalisation and it never happened. And somebody close to me got made redundant who worked on the railway at that time. So I was quite bitter about that. I would say we have to move forward. I think they're going to get elected in next year. If they are, then we'll see if they're true to their word regarding the trade unions that are basically the parents of the Labour Party. You know, that's what gives birth to them. I would.
Oh, I think we're struggling again with your line, yes, Duncan. But
sorry,
last sentence from you if we've got you back. Anything else you want to add?
Last sentence is pragmatic and see what we can do for each other.
Okay, thanks very much. So we're going to take it another final 5 minutes, and this is the spicy round. We're going to give candidates a chance to ask each other a question. So does anyone have a seething question or a lovely question that they'd like to ask of another candidate about their experience record and what they'll do as Gen Secretary? Gone all shy. Okay, Duncan, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, I've fought from the start on a fair campaign for everybody. My questions would be to the other two candidates. What do you know about representing individuals when you are an actual rep in the company?
Okay, who wants to take that first? Bonnie, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So as part of my role, I've represented a number of members who were reps. As an organiser, we don't tend to get involved in representing rank and file members, but our reps get the next level up of support. Usually our reps represent the members. But I had a rep who was facing the loss of his job on health capability grounds. He was a rep. It was a very complex case. I actually took this on quite early on in my time in TSSA. He ended up being dismissed because of an accident that he had that caused him a disability. It was a disability that could have been treated, but it was going to go on for more than 12 months. So he was covered under the Equalities Act. They sacked him. I appealed. They reinstated him. Then about 6 months later, they sacked him again. We took it to tribunal. Morris drew the schedule of loss for him. This was a guy who'd worked on the railway since he was 16 years old. He'd had 25 years on the railway. One of the significant losses would have been the loss to his railway pension, which would have been a huge blow to him and his family, as well as the loss of his job. The schedule of loss put together by Morris with the research that I did and the documents I gave them was £500,000. The tribunal came up 2 years later on the steps of the tribunal court. What do you know? When the employer had previously offered, when they'd offered £2,000, we got £53,000. He bought.
So sorry. Good sum up though. Mariam, do you have any experience of representing actual members? Duncan wants to know.
Yeah, I was workplace rep in my previous workplace, Duncan. I was a health and safety rep too. I was involved in negotiating a massive improvement to a redundancy scheme. I represented a dozen blacklisted workers in the blacklisting litigation that I was involved in at UCAT. But even as a counsellor, I took on the case of a black worker who was denied promotion.
Okay, and Bonnie or Mariam, do you have a question for the other two? And yeah, I should have said at the start, with 30 seconds ideally in responses, or a minute max, please. So question for the others. No? Okay. Bonnie, go ahead.
Yeah, can I just say, I have also fought a clean and honest campaign. I'm not interested in attacking any of the other candidates. At the end of the day, we all want to do the best by our union and be able to work together going forward, whichever one of us gets this position. So, and as a result of that solidarity between us, the three of us have got a ticket office campaign day. We're all going up to Manchester. We're going to be spending the day together. And I'd like to think that if any of the other candidates had any questions they wanted to ask me, I'd be very happy to answer it. But I'm just not into potentially embarrassing one of our other candidates. I don't think that would be particularly helpful.
That's a wonderful note to end on, because actually my final question to wrap up was going to be say something nice about the other candidates. So any words of praise for your other comrades who are standing? Duncan.
Yeah, as Bonnie said, me, Mariam and Bonnie meeting tomorrow to campaign at Manchester Piccadilly at 10 o'clock if anybody wants to come. 11:30 at Deansgate and then down to Oxford Road. We've always wanted a clean campaign and a clean fight going forward for everybody. But it just shows that we've got three people here who want to change the union. And as I said previously, there's 75 people on here and 17,000 members. I would ask anybody to vote, not necessarily for myself, although I do want that, but I want everybody to vote just to show that it's the members' decision. And I wish both well.
And Mariam, I'm taking it you echo those words of niceness and kindness to other candidates.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Well, on that note, and it's pretty rare for a hustings, I have to say, to end on such solidarity, but we're gonna leave it there. Thank you so much to all the candidates who've spoken tonight. Bonnie, is it point of order from you?
Really quick, if any members got any questions they'd like to ask me, please get in touch and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. I echo Duncan's thing though, please vote. Whoever you vote for, please vote. I hope you vote for me, but use your vote.
Please vote. I'm sure that's a sentiment others can echo as well.
Josiah, I just wanted to thank the audience for listening to us. I really appreciate the time that they've set aside to listen to three candidates just go on about their CVs. So absolutely, whoever you vote, there won't be respect from me.
Thank you so much. And first and foremost, thank you so much to everyone who's attended, and vast majority of people who attended this call tonight, this hustings, have stuck with to the very end, which is absolutely brilliant. So ballot papers issued tomorrow, 25th of August, and the closing date for sending them back is the 22nd of September. And I just want to thank again all the candidates, everyone who helped organise tonight, the staff on the call, Will and Liz as well for doing keeping this thing ticking along, and all the best with the rest of the campaign to everyone and to the future of the union. As a union member myself, been in the NUJ many years, I wish it all the best. So thanks again for having me. It's been an absolute honour, and have a good weekend and rest of your evening. Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. I'll say thank you before Will mutes me.
Duncan, thanks for good humour.
See
No worries.
you tomorrow, Duncan.
See you
and Marion.
tomorrow.
Thanks all.
Yeah, see you both tomorrow.